Boyd Codington and Chip Foose were once seen as the perfect representation of two generations of American hot rodding standing side by side. In a famous photograph taken during the 1997 Hot Rod Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Las Vegas, the two men appear united, smiling for the cameras as if they were family. Boyd, already a legend at 53 years old, was widely regarded as the king of the modern hot rod movement, a builder whose influence had reshaped the custom car industry. Standing beside him was 31-year-old Chip Foose, the youngest inductee in the history of the Hall of Fame, a gifted designer whose talent seemed destined to carry the industry into the future. To the public, they represented master and apprentice, mentor and protege, the past and future of American custom car culture. Yet within months of that photograph being taken, the relationship would collapse so completely that the two men would never truly reconcile. The roots of the story stretch back decades earlier. Boyd Codington arrived in Southern California during the late 1960s with little more than determination and an obsession with hot rods. At a time when many considered traditional hot rods outdated relics, Boyd envisioned something different. He worked nights as a machinist at Disneyland, manufacturing components for rides while spending his days building cars in his garage. Every dollar he earned went back into his passion. In 1977, he opened Hot Rods by Boyd in Stanton, California, and gradually transformed the industry. Rather than embracing the rough-and-ready image of traditional hot rods, Boyd created a cleaner, more refined aesthetic. He eliminated unnecessary details, smoothed body lines, and elevated hot rods into rolling pieces of art. His creations repeatedly won the prestigious America's Most Beautiful Roadster Award, eventually earning 7 victories, a record that stood for decades. But perhaps his most influential innovation came through wheel design. Boyd pioneered the widespread use of billet aluminum wheels, machining them from solid blocks of aluminum rather than using traditional casting techniques. The wheels were expensive, revolutionary, and instantly desirable. By the late 1980s, Boyd Codington had become far more than a car builder. He was a brand, a celebrity, and a dominant force in the custom automotive world. Meanwhile, several hours north in Santa Barbara, a young boy named Chip Foose was developing an extraordinary talent. Growing up in his father's automotive shop, Chip learned the fundamentals of fabrication, painting, and design at an early age. What set him apart, however, was his ability to draw. He could visualize cars from any angle and render them on paper with remarkable speed and precision. His passion led him to the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, one of the most respected transportation design schools in the world. Financial difficulties forced him to leave temporarily, but after years of work he returned and completed his degree. Major automotive manufacturers expressed interest in hiring him, and he seemed destined for a successful corporate design career. Yet during his studies he had begun doing freelance design work for Boyd Codington. Initially, he worked largely for the love of the craft, rarely billing Boyd for his services. When Ford Motor Company and Volkswagen presented him with attractive career opportunities, Boyd countered with an offer too good to refuse. Chip stayed. The partnership that followed became one of the most productive periods in modern custom car history. Boyd possessed the infrastructure, reputation, and business empire. Chip possessed extraordinary artistic vision. Together they produced some of the most iconic custom cars of the era, including the Boydster, Boydster II, and Smoothster. These vehicles redefined what a hot rod could look like and influenced countless builders around the world. Yet a subtle tension existed beneath the success. While Chip's designs were often the creative driving force behind the cars, the finished products carried Boyd's name. The awards, magazine covers, and public recognition flowed primarily toward the established master rather than the emerging designer. Industry insiders understood Chip's importance, but to the broader public the creations belonged to Boyd Codington. As the years passed, Chip rose through the ranks of the company, eventually becoming vice president and then president. By 1997, he was effectively managing the most famous custom car shop in America. On the surface, the future appeared bright. Behind the scenes, however, serious problems were developing. Boyd's Wheels had gone public in 1995, and the company aggressively expanded manufacturing operations. Massive facilities were built and production increased dramatically. For a brief period, the strategy appeared successful. Then the market softened. Sales declined, debt accumulated, and investors became nervous. The same expansion that had been intended to secure Boyd's dominance instead created financial burdens the company could not sustain. In August 1997, Boyd was removed as president and chief executive officer of the company bearing his own name. 3 months later, Chip Foose was elevated to a leadership role and tasked with helping guide the struggling business through increasingly turbulent waters. The effort failed. On January 30, 1998, Boyd's Wheels filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company carried approximately $15 million in debt. By the middle of the year, its assets were being liquidated through bankruptcy proceedings. Suppliers, vendors, and small businesses that had extended credit to the company were left facing enormous losses. For many people throughout the industry, the collapse was devastating. Chip Foose remained until the very end, helping employees find new jobs and ensuring customer projects were transferred elsewhere whenever possible. Eventually, he departed and established Foose Design with his wife Lynn. Their financial situation was precarious, but they believed in the future. From Boyd's perspective, however, Chip's departure represented something far more painful. Whether justified or not, Boyd increasingly viewed his former protege as someone who had built a reputation under the Coddington banner and then left when circumstances became difficult. The situation worsened as numerous talented craftsmen from Boyd's organization eventually joined Foose Design. Painters, fabricators, body specialists, and other respected builders migrated to Chip's growing company. To Boyd, each departure felt like another personal betrayal. The conflict might have remained largely private if not for television. In 2004, Boyd became the star of American Hot Rod, a reality series chronicling life inside his shop. The program highlighted intense deadlines, workplace conflicts, and frequent confrontations. Employees argued, tempers flared, and viewers witnessed an environment defined by pressure and tension. That same year, Chip launched Overhaulin', a radically different program focused on secretly restoring deserving owners' vehicles. Chip's calm demeanor, artistic talent, and positive attitude quickly resonated with audiences. The contrast between the two men could not have been sharper. One appeared angry and embattled. The other appeared generous and inspiring. As Overhaulin' grew in popularity, Chip's reputation soared. Matters became even more personal when respected members of Boyd's staff began leaving to work with Foose. The most famous example involved Charlie Hutton, a longtime painter and body shop supervisor whose departure was captured on camera. Viewers watched as another trusted employee walked away from Boyd's organization and toward Chip's camp. Similar departures followed, reinforcing the perception that the industry's center of gravity was shifting. Throughout these years, Boyd rarely discussed the conflict directly, but his actions suggested deep resentment. Chip, on the other hand, consistently spoke about Boyd with respect. In interviews, he expressed disappointment that communication had broken down, while emphasizing that he harbored no ill will. By 2007, Boyd's health had begun deteriorating. Years of stress, diabetes, and the lingering consequences of business struggles took a toll. In early 2008, complications following surgery led to his death at the age of 63. The custom car community mourned the loss of one of its most influential figures. Despite years of estrangement, Chip attended the funeral and spoke kindly of the man who had once given him an opportunity when few others could. In the years that followed, Foose's success continued to grow. His designs earned numerous awards, including multiple America's Most Beautiful Roadster victories, eventually surpassing Boyd's record. Yet beneath the trophies and television success remained a story that resonated far beyond the automotive world. It was the story of a mentor and a student whose relationship could not survive success. Boyd Codington helped create one of the most talented designers in automotive history, but when that designer eventually emerged from his shadow, the relationship fractured beyond repair. In the end, their conflict was never really about cars, television shows, or even bankruptcy. It was about pride, legacy, and the painful reality that every generation eventually produces someone capable of surpassing the one that came before it. Boyd built an empire. Chip inherited the talent, vision, and public admiration that empire helped cultivate. One man spent his life becoming a legend. The other spent his life becoming the future. And somewhere between those two achievements, a friendship was lost forever.